Hey, hey,
Mm.
Karen.
Hi,
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to
welcome. Thanks for joining us to A Date with the Dietitians.
This is Anne,
And this is Karen.
and Happy New Year.
Happy
How are
New
you?
Year!
Are you going out tonight for dinner, Karen? What are you doing?
I don't know. We were going to go bowling maybe, but maybe not. I don't know. We have
Bowling? Huh?
extra kids in the house. Well, little bowling, the kind of bowling that, like, I don't know. Bowling,
Bocce?
sort of, but in a
Sounds
lane,
fun. Okay.
an arcade.
We are both RDNs and we're Maha dietitians because we want to make America healthy again. So, what are we going to talk about today, Karen? Like, what's on your mind?
Well, I would like to do a follow up for what's been going on with Brooke Rollins and SNAP and the country.
Yeah, I'm interested
Because
to
I had
hear
made
that.
some predictions that came true. You're going to start. I feel like I made predictions that came true. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about creatine, and I'm going to show you one of my favorite things so that you'll
Okay.
be in the
I'm
know.
excited about. Okay, so we have our segments, right? So we're going to talk about we got something tried, something true, something old, something new, dietitian's corner, and they're all mixed up. They're not in order.
There. Yep.
So we have Karen's got something tried. I'm excited to hear about because it's going to help with flu season. It's super simple. And we're mostly going to be talking about our thoughts on creatine.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
let's start there.
I should have brought my jar over. Do you have your
Yeah.
container?
Well, maybe I can
Okay.
put a picture of it in. So I've been hearing a lot about creatine in the news lately, and on little ads and different videos and research. Have you been hearing about it? Seems like it's popular again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was probably last year when my son started working out a little bit more, and he's like, "Mom, I want to take creatine," and I was like, "No,
I didn't
that
know that.
sounds dangerous."
Yeah, no, Raymond does. He works out and he takes it. So he had some questions about it, and I kind of poo-pooed it because back in the day, I felt like it was just for bodybuilders and
And I don't want to, I misspoke. I didn't mean that sounds dangerous. I really was thinking more like that sounds expensive and
hmm
unnecessary for you.
right.
That's really what I was more thought of.
hmm
When I will say, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I will say back when I was a dietitian and even when I went through my internship, I did a lot of kidney nephrology stuff.
I did too.
And I was told, like, do not exceed zero point 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram. You'll burden your kidneys. And I remember thinking at the time, I mean, why are all these bodybuilders not, when they're 65,
hmm
not on dialysis?
That's a good
They're
point.
scooping, they're just scooping, scooping, scooping. They're consuming large amounts of protein that we as dietitians know better. This is crazy. How are they not killing their kidneys? Well,
Well, I'll
we're
have to
having to eat a
say,
little bit of crow.
I'm gonna have to say I have completely changed my mind
Yeah.
after looking into it myself. After, I don't know, 20 years of thinking it was a waste of money or whatnot, and that it would hurt your kidneys and overload them. So let's start with this. Like, so what is creatine? What is it, Karen? Is it
Well,
is
it
it a
ends in an
protein?
INE, so I thought it was an amino acid. I did.
Okay. Is
And
it
a lot of the labels say it's an amino acid.
it is not an amino acid. Is it a protein?
It is found in protein.
Is it a
I think
peptide?
no.
Oh, nope,
A
it's
peptide
none
would
of
be
this.
several amino acids. Nope.
Nope, it's none of them. It's just a teeny tiny molecule that is derived from three amino acids.
Pieces of three amino acids.
Yeah,
And
little
so its
pieces.
structure looks a lot like an amino acid.
But it's only teeny, it's really teeny tiny compared to an amino acid or even a protein would be ginormous.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the form? I mean, that we're buying the powder is actually creatine monohydrate. And I have a handy little thing to show. I love chemistry and I really like this molecule. You can see how tiny it is. It's only, here's the creatine itself, and here's the form that we eat, and you can see it has this little water molecule attached to it. So that's why it can dissolve
Mm-hmm.
in water. But see how tiny it is? It's just a couple oxygens. But here's why people, want to say it's an amino acid, I think, because it's got
Mm.
the nitrogen groups.
Yeah.
But so that brings me to another question. Can I put it in my coffee in the morning, or my rise, or my herbal tea, or should I put it in my wine?
Well, I mean,
And people, it is New Year's Eve.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Happy New Year's.
it doesn't dissolve very well in some things. So I'd say ideally I put it in my smoothie.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Or a milkshake? Because it's kind of chalky.
Actually, I've been doing a little study on myself. I mean, we can talk about that
Yeah.
now.
What works?
Before I even talk about why I changed my mind. So I've been taking it about, I'm going to say 20 days. And I thought, well, I'll be smart and take 10 grams a day, right? Because it sounded great to me, all the benefit. Now, I do want to interject here. Like, do you have any, what do you think about loading? I saw some people, women, loading
Oh,
like 20 grams, 40 grams for a week or two. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, if you are just coming out of being a vegetarian,
Oh, okay, good. I
like
agree with
Russell
that.
Brand, you're like, I'm done.
Or our former professor, Bill Landis, are you out there? Please tell me you're eating cheeseburgers after all these years. A
Or
shout
your
out.
Ariana Grande,
Yeah, so
then loading might be good. I mean, you may just be peeing it out. It might cause you
yeah,
a lot of discomfort.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know
say
about.
the abdominal, the bloating would probably be my biggest concern. I don't think it's dangerous, and I agree with you. If you're
It's
just
going to be
coming out of
uncomfortable.
your vegetarian stage, which I was a vegetarian for a very short time in my life,
How was that working for you?
it didn't.
When were you?
It was when I was like a real purist. I'm in my late teens. Not a good time to be a vegetarian, but I did eat eggs. I wasn't a vegan. Like that never even occurred to me. So where was I on my journey of? So I thought, okay, I'm gonna start with 5 grams. So I was putting it in my smoothie, and then after I'm going to talk about what I learned, I'm like, well, I'm just going to put some in water when I get up in the morning and go ahead and drink it, get
Hmm.
my brain started. So I've been doing that just in case it denatures in coffee.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I've been
Now,
doing
does
two
it
and a half
dissolve? Does it
in the
dissolve in the
water.
water?
Yeah, I just stir it up
Okay.
and drink it. Just a little bit of water, not a full
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah.
Then in the afternoon, I'm putting it in the rise or tea or something else
Yeah.
or smoothie. So back to where were we? So how does it work? What is it? What got you interested in it lately? Like
So,
there are a
because
few
I've
things
been,
I really wanted to learn about. What about you?
well, I actually started doing it before I started doing it a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but before I even did as much research as I've done recently. And I was doing it for for my workouts
Because you're
sessions
training.
yeah,
I'm
to
not really. It Pilates.
to because it's supposed to make it to where your muscles don't get as tired in a training session, and you have that little kind of extra energy to keep going because it provides energy to the cells
It
in a
does.
quick fashion,
It
so you
does.
can keep going. So that's why I started doing it. And because I had read that, there's not really a downside, and there's no way I'm getting enough,
No,
you
me
know.
neither. It is. It is one of the most researched compounds. I mean, I did
Yeah.
see like the links are just on and on and on and on, and you can. It's just a tiny little molecule with nothing, nefarious. Not like a little benzene ring or anything. But yeah, I got interested because I'm postmenopausal and I'm always interested in how can I feel better because I definitely have seen changes. So what caught my attention lately was the information for post and perimenopausal women and how it affects your brain energy, your muscles, even your moods.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about that? And I do.
Yeah. Um, and memory resilience.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they were testing some people like in one of the studies about like how they could recall stuff with and without the creatine.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed like their mental acuity and how they could recall stuff better. And did you run across where people were sleep deprived and they could function almost like they weren't?
No, but I felt like
And
that
I was
today when
like,
I took it.
and so I was like, no, not, I mean, they didn't keep them up all night, but say you have jet lag or, you
Or
know,
you're up until 2:30
right.
doom scrolling. Yeah.
See, and you're still able to do the podcast. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I do think that I was like, who can't use a little bit of that every now and then?
And I don't think it's a placebo effect because you're
No.
exactly right. On a normal day, I have worked. It's New Year's Eve. I worked all day. I did stay up late doom scrolling. I wouldn't be able
Gotta
to, I don't
quit
think I'd be
doing
able to
that.
do this. There's no way. There's no way. So the reason I was interested, okay, so how does this little molecule do all these awesome things? So it was interesting. So as you go through menopause, towards menopause, wherever you are in that, your estrogen is decreasing and that really affects your brain energy. So apparently creatine really helps with brain energy. I want to talk about how in a minute. It protects your cells, and by protecting your energy in your brain is protecting against mood and depression kind of swings, because apparently disruptions in your brain energy are involved in mood and depression. So that makes sense. If your brain is low in energy, yeah, it's going to be depressed. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. So it shields your brain from oxidative stress and damage, and it helps regulate the neurotransmitters by keeping that energy even. So I thought that was absolutely
Mm-hmm.
fascinating. And that's exactly the way it works. It works like a little, I have a little diagram at the bottom here, but just to summarize it, what creatine does, it ATP is your little energy factory in your cells. You've got tons of them, and it has to go from ADP to ATP to release the energy. And what the creatine does is it just helps that cycle go rapidly without going through the whole cycle that it normally would go through, and that we're not going to get into because that would be a whole biochemistry lesson. So it's basically like a little energizer bunny just hanging there. Here you go, you're done, and just
Here's
throwing it back. It's just like a little cycle. So if it's doing that in your brain cells, I mean, in the mitochondria, that sounds great to me.
mm-hmm.
And I do feel better. Now, how do you think, has it helped you with your
Yeah.
muscle?
Mm-hmm.
Muscle?
Mm-hmm. Like I feel like I don't get tired. If I'll do it and I do it about 30 minutes before, 5 grams, 30 minutes before I go, I can, that at the end, I can keep going and doing more reps. And you're just like, you don't have to, the mental, like, come on, you can do it. You can do it. Your body is actually like, yeah, I can do
I
this.
can. Like, I'm here sitting up. I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah. So I definitely have noticed that. And I guess I didn't need the loading because I can notice it on days when I don't, and I can notice it on days when I do. But they say the best, if you are going to take creatine, that you should do it at the same time. Like you
And
should
that makes
kind
sense
of come
because
up with a
it's
regimen.
such a
Yeah.
teeny molecule. It's going to be absorbed quickly.
But also, did you find that like if you did want it for, if you're working out and you still want it for some brain benefits, you might need to go up above. Like some people are even going as much as 20 grams a day. But I would build your way up to that because of the possible bloating in like, I don't know, 2.5 increments or something like that. Because one scoop, I think, is 5 grams.
So I think my verdict is it's going to become a part of my. I don't want to just get the minimum amount. I want to have optimal nutrition,
Yes,
don't you?
I
Especially
do.
in this part of my life cycle here.
Yeah, let's optimize everything.
So my conclusion is I'm pro creatine. And
Okay, what about, you know, this one person was like, well, I went to the doctor and they checked my creatinine,
mm-hmm,
which sounds the same, but it's not.
no,
And that's a level they check when they do like a whole metabolic panel on you. Every time you go to the doctor for your physical, they probably check that. And the doctor was like, what is this? Why is this higher? If you're on creatine, tell your doctor
yes,
that you're
they
on
will do
it.
that creatinine level, and they'll probably lose their
I don't know. I mean, there's
so
the thing is, there's other things that mark whether or not you have
yes,
kidney function, like your BUN would
mm-hmm.
be higher too. And I don't think that is affected by
It's just
creatine
because of the
intake.
nitrogen, yeah.
Yeah, so it will go up. Your creatinine will go up a little bit, but they can check what's called a cystatin C in your blood test. If they're really, really worried, oh my goodness, is there kidney problems? They can check your albumin, urine albumin to creatinine ratio and see if that's going up. It's not a no, like, no, you can't do it.
I agree. So tell your doctor, who's doing your labs, that you've been
Mm-hmm.
taking it, and to ask them to please do those alternate tests. I mean, it sounds like a good idea to me anyway, if they don't really measure your kidney
And
function.
all of those tests anyway are for trends. So you
Yeah.
should always know like what your
Yes.
baseline is in anything. The doctor, and anytime you go to a new doctor, that's why, bring in your old tests so that you can look at a trend to see if things are going up.
I have one more benefit I just thought of that it's helping me with. I'm doing intermittent fasting again since I realized I had been messing it up with my
Oh,
delicious,
yeah.
yummy coconut creamer. I gained 5 pounds in 2 months
What?
when I messed up my intermittent fasting. So I think it's already gone, but taking it in the morning is helping me get through that first initial where I
Mm.
think I just can fast
So
longer.
you are taking that and considering it fasting?
Yeah, it
Creatine?
doesn't break a fast
Okay.
because what is it?
Yeah.
It's not protein. It's
Yeah.
not you can it won't break your fast, ladies and
Mm.
gentlemen. I mean, I can tell you that from my own I can tell my body, because I was like, what's wrong with my body? Anyway, so
Which is not true if you're taking like amino acid supplementation. And
no,
that
no,
is not true. That would
you
break a
can
fast.
if you are trying to do intermittent fasting, the only thing I would say you can put in your coffee is the creatine and coconut oil.
That's breaking a fast.
Well, it's your body
It'll
doesn't
keep you in.
know. Technically, it breaks a fast, but it doesn't
What
cause
is a
you to.
fast? Make your insulin go up.
Correct. Your
Okay.
body doesn't recognize it as, yeah, it's time for insulin. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we can continue with no carbs. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, if you want to get into like a religious fast, maybe, I don't know. Okay, so my verdict is yay for creatine.
And what's the brand that you like? Okay, me too.
I do. I like Thorn.
I did read to not do gummies, which seems obvious, right? Do you do gummies with
No,
anything?
no,
No.
because if I get hungry, I'll eat the jar. No. No, I can't even have vitamin
First of
C
all, what
gummies.
kind of gummy would it even be? Chalky and pasty and
I mean, some gummies are gross.
I just can't imagine how big the gummy would have to.
Thanks. If I can drink it in a little bit of water, anybody
Don't do the
can.
gummies. And don't order it from Amazon
No,
because
please.
you just don't know what
You
they're
don't.
putting in their stuff. You don't know if it's safe. Want to make sure that it's from a.
Good source. And we'll put the
Mm-hmm.
link to our formulary, which is discounted. We're not making any medical recommendations.
No.
Definitely talk to your doctor before you do any of this. This is all our POV. But I'm excited because I don't really know about your something tried. I'm probably going to be getting it. Are you ready?
Let's do something tried. Okay, so I've been doing this for, I don't know, probably about a year, but it's Beekeeper's Natural and it's propolis. So it's like, this is what the makeup girls do so that it's in focus. Does that work?
Yeah, kind of. I see it's nasal. Yeah. So
Okay,
what?
but there's a
Spray it down.
throat.
Does
So
it go
this
in
is
your
a nose
nostril
spray.
or In your throat.
This is a nose spray, but there is one that it's a throat spray,
Mm-hmm.
and it tastes like honey. I think it tastes
Ooh.
good. My kids don't like the taste of it. This said it's made with oregano and eucalyptus. And it has a little bit of this is what I do if I'm already sick
Mm-hmm.
or I'm sensing it coming on, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
The propolis, that's the oral spray, I do just to keep my immunity fighting against what's going on. And I think it keeps me from getting sick. I did just get the flu
I know, and look at you.
after Thanksgiving. I mean, after Christmas, but I was only down for like a day and a half. And I feel
That's
like
amazing.
there's a lot of people who were down a whole week. And so, yeah, I was doing this, obviously vitamin D, vitamin C.
So,
We'll put this in there. So I heard about it from the natural pharmacist, I think.
mm-hmm.
And she's like, I put it in my kids' backpacks and they never got COVID. And I was like, sold.
I was gonna say, if the nasal spray is gonna protect whatever
Mm-hmm.
virus or microbe gets up in your nostril, that's probably gonna deactivate it right then. And then, I mean, I love oregano. I've got some
Mm-hmm.
oregano oil in my cabinet, and the throat spray. I need it. I
And
mean,
they also sell like lozenges and a bunch of other things too for like it, if you're already sick. There's some other things, but the things that I keep around like in my car is the throat
so
spray.
that's something I think I'm gonna add to my home pharmacy. So, all right, I'm definitely getting that. Now let's do our snap update. What is going on with
So, okay.
snap?
So, before Thanksgiving, okay, they were asking Brooke Rollins,
Who we really like her.
yeah, U.S. Department of
Is she a
Agriculture.
dietitian?
Oh,
Okay.
no, she's just an agriculture major, Future Farmers of America, Die Hard. I think she was a lawyer. She's from Texas.
Okay.
She actually asked for all the states to send in data. So it's interesting. It's very educational because my son and I have talked about it. Like how if you read an article or listen to, especially if you download like what was actually said, the transcripts, you can kind of piece it and be like, oh, they're adding words like, here's an example. The USDA states in May to send sensitive data, they add this adjective, including social security numbers and the total value of benefits participants have received over time to the federal government as part of an initiative to go after fraud and SNAP. More than 24 states so far have done so. And that's what Brooke said. And she was like, we're still waiting on states to send in stuff and we don't know what they're doing, but most of them are blue. And so
Why?
I said, because then they're going to roll out like the plan. I said, well, they're just not going to give them funding if they're not going to give them their stuff. And that's exactly what she's doing.
We have to know what's going on with the money. It's for supplemental nutrition, not.
Yeah. So why do they not want to be, why do they not want to be forthcoming? So I actually printed out a list. It's crazy. The list of people who have not yet done it, 21 states have not complied with federal requests to share detailed SNAP recipient data. These states primarily are Democratic led. They've refused to provide some personal information. It's so funny, such as names and social security numbers. Let me just tell you, do you not have to give your social security number to everybody? Like that's,
But this is, intergovernment
yeah,
agencies.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you're giving it to. It's a BS.
Yeah, there should be filing taxes. This should be, no, yeah. Anyway, so they're refusing. And also, this is what they think. They can tattle, like, so they're retaliating by doing active litigation against the requests. Have you heard this?
No.
Yeah.
What?
So they're trying to sue then the federal government and tie them up and go, well, we're not going to give you stuff. We're just going to sue you for asking us for private stuff. Rhode Island, there's a bunch of them that are like,
Are they
so,
using HIPAA?
well, the lawyers platforms that I've watched
About food. It's not
say this.
medical.
They know it is not a legitimate legal complaint and they know it's going to be tossed out, but they think it's going to buy them time and make the government look bad for not just giving them funds. And they're just, it's sort of grandstanding, I think. I'm gonna tell you the states that haven't done it: California, New York, Minnesota, Colorado, Connecticut, Maryland, Arizona, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois. This Kentucky, what are you doing?
North Carolina better not be on that list.
I'm really disappointed with Kentucky lately. Maine, Massachusetts. We're going to come back to that, people. New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Washington, and Wisconsin. Those are the ones. The federal judge issued a preliminary injunction in September 2025, temporarily blocking the USDA from penalizing these states for noncompliance. I think they're going to do it anyway. Compliant states, conversely, there are 29 of them. They're predominantly Republican-led, including Guam. Let's throw that in there. Yeah.
Some congressman thought if there were too many people on the island, it would tip in the ocean. Do you remember that? It would. That's a true thing. He said that.
You need to find that clip.
I am.
Really?
Yeah, we can't have people fat in Guam. It'll tip over.
Okay, then recent actions. While some states resist the data request, others have partnered with the USDA in different initiatives. For example, 18 states have received waivers to restrict junk food purchases starting in 2026. So they've put this waiver that they're asking states, and I don't really understand this, but they're basically, the state will say, yeah, can we do a waiver? And then if they get approved, then the state gets to come up with the restrictions.
So the state can say, you can go to...
That's what I don't understand, how...
You can buy a Big Mac or...
And you can do what you were already doing. But yet...
The point...
But it seems like the Maha people are happy when they do that. So I don't know, are they just really hoping that the states do what's best for the public? Because that's what got us to where we are already. I don't really know.
I guess I can see it from 2 points. All right, states have their freedom. Each state can do their own thing, make their own rules. But if it's federal funds...
They should still have to show an accounting for the federal, yeah.
No matter what, they need to show... They have to show an accounting to the state and to federal. If it's federal, definitely federal, because it's all our money. So that's one thing. So they can't just act like it's not our business. It's my business what they're doing in Kentucky with my federal tax money. And the other thing, this is for nutrition. This is to make people healthy, not to make them sick and obese. So I don't see a place for junk food in SNAP. I need to find my grandson's thing and put that up. I mean, he understood. I mean, if you have limited resources, you don't want to waste it on stuff that's not food.
No.
And that makes you sick.
So then there's this one organization called the RMP, Restaurant Meals Program, which I guess is like I don't know, only some states have it, and they get to, it's a waiver kind of that the federal government. Okay, there's 9 of them. I kind of like, we should do like a study, see how many you can get right. I'm just going to tell you. Arizona. You probably wouldn't have got that. But who else do you think's in there? I'm gonna grade you.
New York, New Jersey.
Hold on. New Jersey's not in there. Okay, California, New York.
Go Garden State. California, Washington, Oregon, Minnesota.
Wow, they're not in. Massachusetts, Michigan, Maryland, Virginia, Rhode Island, Arizona, New York. Did I list them all? Rhode Island. Apparently so yeah, I'm surprised that someone
doesn't care at all about laws, and so they...
No. But you knew Minnesota was going to be in there, right? And California. Shame on Virginia. And you knew New York. But anyway, so that way they get these vouchers and they can actually go into some restaurants and buy things. And they're almost always used at fast food. McDonald's. Voucher. Yeah. Yeah, isn't that? But they, they say they're for the elderly, the disabled, and the homeless. But I'm like, can't you get, and I understand the whole prepared meals thing, but why
eat it?
No, you can't do that, I don't think. Well, yeah, how are they doing it?
Yeah, how are they getting junk?
Yeah, I don't know.
Meals don't bring that.
No, but if you're homeless, I guess you just walk into a place. You're living downtown, they're assuming, and on the street. I mean,
you live.
I meant close within walking. I meant within walking distance is what I meant.
Get out of your box and go to the nearest
No.
Burger King.
Okay. But why can't they go into a deli,
Grocery store.
a grocery store and get like a sandwich or
Yeah. Food.
a yogurt parfait? I mean, all our grocery stores have stuff made up. Yeah.
Like meals ready.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused why. Anyway, I was just surprised about that. I didn't know about the
Okay.
RMP. Okay, so I guess Brooke is now not waiting for crackdown because crackdowns are starting to roll in. And we know, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that in a way. This is totally different, but about the whole Minnesota thing and the daycares and the Somalis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's corruption, which is not food related right now, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Well, some
But
of it was because they were doing feeding kids during COVID. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that is so. Yes. Tell us about the grocery stores. Tell us about the grocery stores. What?
so yeah, there
How
are
did they
these
figure it? Yeah.
tiny little grocery stores. I even looked them up on Google Maps. I'm like, I got to see these, what
Like
they
the one
are.
on Buffalo Road?
They're like bodega. It's like a bodega.
Yeah.
It's not a grocery store.
Right.
Like there weren't even like refrigeration units. There's no little shopping carts, no little. There might be like a chip bag clip, like almost like something you'd see.
And how
So I
much?
found this one place that showed the insides of these places. So apparently these two grocery stores were actually connected. And the two men who ran them, they were in cahoots. So it's like two different people, but they're connected. They're both from Haiti. One of them's a naturalized citizen and the other one's a lawful permanent resident from Haiti. I don't know what all that means, but anyway, they're Haitians. So they have stolen together almost $7 million worth of food
What?
stamps. And that's just what they think so far. Allegedly. All of this is allegedly, of course. Yeah, the defendants. So it's so good. Okay, so also, not only were they like trading food, because there's barely any food, like cigarettes, maybe they sell alcohol. They're trading food stamps for like everything in these bodegas.
Okay.
Do you understand? Like they're letting people use their EBT cards to just, even cash. They're literally doling out cash for the EBT vouchers, okay? Because people were walking in there without a bag or anything and supposedly had $60 worth of groceries with them. And they're like, well, that's weird. Where is it?
So there's no way these tiny places had the capacity
No,
to sell that
no.
much food.
Listen to this. So the small retail stores operated in Boston, the defendants' monthly SNAP redemptions allegedly ranged from 100 to 500,000 per month, outpacing full service supermarkets. Defendants also allegedly sold this, get this, food product that had been donated and intended for food insecure children overseas. Okay, get this. It doesn't get any more like nasty than that.
No.
So people, part of this program called, I mean, can you imagine like making up meals? So it was called Manapack meals. I'm expecting like a MRE. It was a donated food product manufactured by the nonprofit Feed My Starving Children campaign. And these meals were paid for entirely by charitable donations intended for shipment and distribution to food insecure people overseas. They're not authorized for retail sale. But they put a price tag of $8 per package on them and sold them and profited from the food intended for humanitarian relief.
They're arrested.
Okay, it gets even better.
No.
So these are these men
trial.
these are these men who are like bringing in all this money, right? Both, at least one of these men, I don't know about both of them, but I'm going to say his name is Bonheur, Antonio Bonheur, the 74-year-old. He actually got a SNAP card, EBT card himself.
I heard that. Okay,
Yes.
I heard a little
And
bit about that.
got at least $10,000 that they know of. So he was cashing in his own EBT card that he was, quote, eligible for or not. Can't stuff
nobody's
up.
paying any attention.
So he's just like in his own store going, swipe.
Yeah.
So the way they found out, I guess they suspected already, but they sent some police officers in there, and they were like, buying stuff, like buying alcohol and buying this and buying. They have videos of them, like several transactions with both of them, and then they're like, now they're indicting him. Yeah, it's crazy. But the weird thing is, this is what I read, the sentence for this, which to me is like crazy federal fraud. How is it so light?
Shouldn't they be deported?
The charge for food stamp fraud greater than $100. So this is it. 7 millions, more than 100. So is it for a sentence up to 5 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a fine of $250,000. Sentences are imposed by federal district court judge. So who knows? I mean, that seems, unless it's like per incident, that doesn't sound like enough.
Isn't it fraud? I mean, it's beyond. It's like
It says food stamp fraud greater than $100. The penalty is,
goodness gracious.
I think it's, you can go to jail for tampering with someone's mailbox.
I know.
For longer than that, can't you?
Yeah.
Legal, give us some advice. Tell
Yes,
us.
somebody tell us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Larry Foreman.
And so I feel like we're going to start seeing more of these, because what I noticed on I think it's the so I did print this out. This is from the United States Attorney Office. So you can print this whole thing out from the District of Massachusetts. It's a press release. Anyway, I feel like people are going to start telling more on people, because there's a hotline, there's hotline buttons online, especially with the guy in Minnesota. Is it Minnesota? Yeah. With the Somalis and doing all that stuff. And he luckily has bodyguards from Officer Tatum's Black Guard. What's it called?
Black Line?
Black Line, yeah. Which we should support for sure.
Yes, we do.
Man, yes.
And our prayers too.
Yes. I mean, so I think that people are going to start telling more on people. And did you hear of who's their governor that ran for president?
Tim Walz?
Yeah, Tim Walz. He was like, we are aware of fraud. We're rooting it out. This is back to the Somali stuff. I'm thinking, how hard did you try, or how inept are you? You
didn't even notice it said Leering Center. The Leering Center?
They already changed the name. Did you know? They've already gotten out there. And there's like CNN or somebody called and they're like, well, I'm on the phone with someone and they say they are a real daycare and I can hear children. And I'm like, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they got them. They're like, come on, bring your kids to work day.
Come on, people. Open your eyes.
Oh my goodness.
Open your eyes. Don't be a dum-dum.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, that's going to be an ongoing saga.
And I wish I could show really quick the one thing that Brooks showed, because we're on a first meeting basis. I mean, I think she's pretty cool, and if I ever met her, she would like me. And you can barely see it, but do you see that spike in the middle?
Yes.
Do you see this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Right there? That's when Biden was president. So even with Obama, this is all.
It's an incline.
The title is Biden's administration left unprecedented increase in SNAP.
Is it 40%? It looks like it almost doubled the bar.
No, I think they think it was like 30 or 40%. But he was just like signing people up right and left. Oh, you get a phone and you get a free box. You get some food. You get some food. And
here we are.
Yeah, here we are.
Having to untangle it all. But we want everybody to be healthy.
Yeah.
And if you're frauding us, you got to be healthy leaving the country. Okay?
And we want you to eat healthy food.
We'll tell you what, we can help you pack healthy snacks for your journey.
And your little.
Should we talk about what we're going to talk about next time? We have something on our mind that we really want to maybe have more than one podcast on.
Protein?
So, yeah.
Protein needs?
Protein. The RDAs. Where they came
RDAs.
from.
Oh, yeah.
What do they mean? How much do you need?
Mm-hmm.